In any relationship, no matter how good it is, you're going to have those moments where it's very difficult. But we always found a way to get past it. Through parenthood, the couple's relationship, it can easily get ignored. Kids are a huge distraction. As they're growing up, all the focus is on them. The day they leave, it's you and your spouse looking at each other, saying, now what do we do?
If you don't let your children know that this is rock solid, that is resentment. It is the worst.
To have your faith and know it's not about you is really the secret sauce in a relationship.
The people that we brought into this world are unbelievable. They're way better than us. They truly, truly are a gift from God. Our faith has just blossomed.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us today for National Marriage Week. If you guys could just introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves, and that'd be great.
Okay. My name's Erik Brine. This is my wife, Shay. We've been married for 27 years.
Yeah.
And we met in high school. So we're high school sweethearts, went off to different colleges, stayed together. So we were together for probably 9 years before we got married. And we have 2 children. A girl who's 26 and a boy who's 24.
Awesome. Great.
Nice. Yeah. And I'm Shay Brine. And it's pretty much our story as far as our marriage. Yeah. Okay. That's where we are.
And I learned just right before this that both of you guys are true New Englanders. You've been in New England your entire life.
Both from Massachusetts. Yes.
Great. Awesome. Why don't you share with us the story of how you guys met? Like, I know you just said that you were high school sweethearts, but could you kind of take us through the process of your courtship and then proposal?
Wow.
Yeah.
We were at school together for a couple of years and didn't know each other. She was a day student. I was a boarder. We were at a prep school together in Massachusetts. And the first day of senior year, I'm sitting in the meeting room in the main academic building, and I hear somebody next to me say, "Hi, Erik." So I look over, and there's Shay sitting next to me. She had never really talked to me before, so it took me by surprise. But we found out we had a couple of free periods together almost every day. And for that whole fall, we just met and sat together and became good friends. We talked almost every day for at least an hour or so. So that was the start of it. And I think then, the middle of the year, we realized that both of us had feelings that were beyond friendship. So that's when the dating started, about mid-year. And then off to separate colleges where we were able to see each other long distance, but we were able to see each other a couple times a year during the academic year and during the summers. And then we're together for a few years after college before we got married.
It's interesting, too, that because we graduated in 1990 from high school. And so, we're landlines and writing letters.
Calling cards.
Yeah, so phone calls were all the time. But we weren't ever together in the same place. Because Erik lived up here, his had moved to New Hampshire at that point, and I was still in Massachusetts. So our time together after graduating from high school was always very short. And so we wrote letters. We back and forth at least a couple times a day. And so now we have this history. We both were athletes in college, and that we have this history of letters, which is so cool. And I think it's special. Like, it's something today that's lost where you get a text. And I say to my kids all the time, like, if you get an email or a text, find a way to save it, like words like that. But the written word, on an envelope, even like Mike, to have that written word. So, right. And we still write notes to each other. That's a big part of for holidays and celebrations. Like, I think that's something that we had the little mailboxes in high school because they were boarding students. And so I get a little note. It's in the middle of the day and I was going to see him in an hour, but just that written word, like, I see you, I hear you. And it was really cool. So I would say that was a big part of kept us together for sure, with the writing and the phone calls, and then that always the big goodbyes and the very excited to see you, and then pull apart and get back together. And it built a friendship for sure. I think we were both at really big schools. I was at Michigan and Erik was at Delaware, competing at D1 levels, and we needed each other, but also could really relate to each other. So I think that was also a part of a way of us staying together. And then we graduated from college and ended up, we took a cross-country trip. And Erik was offered a job in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He could have worked in Massachusetts in a store or gone to Pittsburgh where the headquarters were and worked in the head office. And I was with him when he got the offer, and I said to him, you got to go where the big guys are. You can't go to some store. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then his sister, so Erik didn't really know what to do, and he said, that's when Tracy said,
I was wondering whether to go away for the job or to stay closer to you or ensure that we were close together. She said, "Dude, you can always get another job, but you can't get another Shay." So that was a good reminder that no matter what we did, if I went off for this job or not, we had to find a way to make it work for each other. That led to her coming out with me a little bit later, and we were able to stay together.
Because we lived in the same place at the same time. So were like, all right, great. We weren't going to live together, but to be in the same city and know the day-to-day, like for him to call and be like, I don't feel like it. Or because every time I had an opportunity to see him, I wanted to see him. So it was like this opportunity to see what it was like when we were living in the same spot. And my dad said to me, because we've been together for a long time, he's like, listen, if this isn't going anywhere, you're getting your butt back home because you're not going to waste your time with this. And I said, okay. So we got down there and then we got engaged, probably 6-7 months after that, I think. Yeah.
How did you propose?
Well, I got some help from they were back at home, and were friends with the local jeweler, so there was a stone that I inherited from my mother, and they helped me make a ring out of it. So I got the ring from them, and I'm holding onto the ring, and I made a reservation for a dinner at a really nice restaurant in Pittsburgh. And it was actually a little bit like this building here, just very classic and peaceful and elegant. So I prepared it all beforehand, had roses at the table, and the whole staff in the restaurant knew it was happening. I had the ring delivered in a bouquet of roses, and everybody's peeking around the corner watching it happen. All the people who worked there, I got down on my knees in the private little restaurant or small restaurant and asked, and she said yes, and it was a really special night.
So just I'm curious. With the ring, did she at all know like what it was going to look like or anything like that?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't have the chance to get any input from her. I just had to go on what I thought I knew about her style, what she would like.
I never told Erik that my dad had said that. And there was no way I was ever going to say, so to your point, like, let's go ring shopping. Now, if you want to marry me, you have to ask me, and I will, it's not... You better not. Yeah, we better be engaged by the end of this year. Like, no, I wanted it to be, if he wanted to do it, then we were all in. And then, like I said, I had that time frame in my head. And if he was asking me, why are you leaving? I would have just said, listen, I need more of a commitment. And but I was never going to pressure in my head. And I say that to our daughter all the time. And, my sons, I would say that to their girlfriends as well. Do not, you want to be with somebody that wants to be with you, not feeling pressure. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's great advice for people who are dating.
Right.
Not to force it to happen. So you guys get married. Where was your wedding?
Well, we met at Tabor Academy, and we ended up, there was a chapel there. And at that time, there was a big cross, and it was lovely. Of course, they've stripped everything away now, but we got married at the Tabor Chapel in Merriam, Massachusetts.
Great. And how's marriage been since your honeymoon, I guess?
I'm going to tell my ring story.
Okay.
So, yeah, my engagement ring is stunning. It's beautiful. And I just was blown away when I received it, and how special it was, because it's 2 of his mom's diamonds. And then, so she gave him 3 diamonds, and he purchased a third that's a little bit bigger than the other two. And we, for like I mentioned about the letters, Valentine's Day, birthdays, even Christmas, our kids do it now too. You write sincerely like a letter, that is truly all that I could possibly want. So for anniversaries and stuff, it's, we just know how much what we have, and we're super grateful. So we had our 25th anniversary coming up for our wedding. And I had surprised him we were supposed to be our 10th, but we renewed our vows with Father Brian up at St. Dennis. And Eric didn't know. I whispered to him, I said, hey, and the kids were with us. And I had surprised him a few years earlier with that. And so we went out to dinner for our 25th. And I had said, we're not doing anything. We're just going out to eat. And we parked the car, and he has this little bag. And I'm like, oh. I had lost a ring, and I'm like, oh, how cute. He's going to replace this ring that I got. But I had assumed it was going to be just this, not a big deal. And so he's like, yeah, go ahead and open it. So I open it, and I quickly closed it. And I was like, Eric. And it's way too much. It's way too much. Like, this is, no. And I mean, I was blown away. It's this ring here. And I just couldn't, I was like, no. And he just kept smiling and looking at me. And then he said, Shay, I gave you your engagement ring when I was like, I love you, but he's like, how could I not get you a ring for our 25th? Because now I know. And I was just like, this is really sweet.
So it's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
It's been a blessed marriage. It's been definitely more ups and downs. And I think in any relationship, no matter how good it is or how strong it is, you're going to have those moments where it's very difficult. Mm-hmm. And you're mad at each other, and you're so mad that you don't want to speak to each other. Like anybody, we had a couple of those moments. And we always found a way to get past it. And it's either one or the other. It's in different occasions. It's been the different person or the other who took that first step to say, I'm sorry, or to admit fault, or to just want to end an argument. So I think the strength of the relationship helped prepare us for those moments when one of us had to take the step to repair a harm.
Yeah.
And just when you get through those tough times, the relationship's just that much better every time. It's like taking steps up a level. We're friends, and we've had a wonderful relationship and marriage. We're as happy today as we were when we got married.
I'm kind of struck by the fact that you guys knew each other in high school. I feel like that's a pretty rare thing. What do you think? Like, why did that last?
So there was definitely a lot of love, and the attractiveness love, the I'm excited to see you love at first, and the absences, because we went to different schools, helped keep that elevated. And I think we both knew that we shouldn't hold each other back through our college experience or through when we're living somewhere else, meeting new friends. We didn't want to hold each other back. He said, look, we're not going to worry about each other. We're not going to obsess over each other. We're going to let each other experience what we should, going off to college and meeting new friends and not having to go back to the room to make a phone call when, all your friends are out. So we gave each other that freedom. And that was a big part.
Yeah.
That we trusted each other.
Two things really strike me. One is that idea of freedom, right? And then it goes back to like even the proposal and engagement that you were talking about, like how you just kind of let each other make decisions.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't like forced. And then the letter writing, I just think that creates a different kind of intimacy that like Zoom calls or texts don't do, right? Where even though you might have been living in this freedom, there was, this attachment kind of that continued to be formed through writing of letters. Well, the theme for kind of our session is Parenthood. So why don't we start with, tell us about Parenthood.
Well, we're probably like all the other folks you have sitting on this couch. Yeah, geez, I don't even think I can say it without crying. The people that we brought into this world are unbelievable. They're way better than us, and they truly, truly are a gift from God. Like I am just been lucky enough to witness that. That's how I feel about both of them. It's taken a while to come to that because when they're little, you get caught up in all that. But I recognize that, they're pretty awesome. They're pretty awesome. The lives that they touch, and when we get phone calls from other friends, and you just get blown away with how they move through the world and what they say and do, and even the stuff we don't know about, and we hear about like a year later. You're like, they did what? They said what? And you just our daughter has friends that will say things. Remember when you told me? And she'll call me and be like, hey, is that so funny, Mom? And I'm like, wow, like just powerful, powerful, powerful. Yeah. It's been, but they're awesome. So.
Yeah, our children have helped us grow. They've taught us a lot for sure, both of us in different ways. We see them as better people and they make us better people. You make mistakes as a parent all the time. And over time, sometimes it's the child who helps you understand that it's okay, rather than you forgiving yourself. So those learning moments are, they just come out of nowhere sometimes. And it just underscores the blessing of it all.
How has having children changed your relationship as a couple?
I never looked at Erik differently after we had the kids. I think we are really a team. And I asked him too, I'm like, geez, I didn't, you witness your wife giving birth. You hear these stories about how men are just either they see them as a totally different person and they, whatever. But we were relatively young. I think when you look at some of the today, in the Catholic world, we were not that young. I mean, I was 26 and 29 when we had our kids. And we just didn't know what the heck we were doing. But we managed it and we did the best we could. Yeah, we didn't really struggle with our relationship in that. It worked. And I was home. I wasn't working. So that was the main thing. And Erik was gone, in the morning and then home every night. So we figured it out. But it was very traditional that way.
With the kids, we had to make sure we had some agreements with each other to protect our relationship and to protect each other's roles, and respect each other's roles. So it was small things. Like I made a promise that I would always work somewhere where I could come home for lunch if she wanted me to or I wanted to. And luckily we were able to do that. I mean, it's not always possible with everybody, but hey, I'm going to deliberately make sure that I'm close to home so that I can be home. And there are a lot of times when I just wasn't there. When our first child came along, she was born on a Thursday, and Monday morning I'm back at work, and she's by herself for 8 or 9 hours a day. It's easy to have some resentments built up if you're not respecting each other's roles, and you can slip into ignorance of how the other person is feeling. And Shay was great in just helping her remind me at times, like, hey, I could use a little appreciation here. You don't understand what I've been doing all day, what I've been through. Just want a little recognition that what I'm doing here is hard. And we were able to keep up with it, and again, not always perfect, but really slipped into a good partnership and teamwork.
When Erik graduated from business school, the options, you're hearing about people taking these big jobs in New York, and we knew what that meant. And they were all thinking, you get on the train at 6 a.m, you're gone all day, you're not back. If you have meetings or clients that you have to entertain, you're not back till 11. And there was no way that I was going to stand for that. It was not going to happen. And I had said to a couple of his classmates, I said, Erik's going to be within driving distance. And when I have to take Elle to a dentist appointment and no one's running around like a maniac, I have to be able to call him and have him grab O's. And people, they laughed. They said, good luck with that. And I mean, you're 3 miles from work, and I wouldn't change a thing. And we have classmates that, of course, are making millions of dollars and doing insane things. But the quality of our life and where we are, I wouldn't change anything.
What other kind of practical things do you guys do to keep connected to each other in the midst of the busyness of life, the busyness of kids? Do you have other specific things you do as a couple to maintain connection with one another?
Erik was a practicing Catholic from day one. And I was born and raised Catholic, but Christmas and Easter, basically. I mean, when I went through confirmation stuff, it was a lot more frequent, but it was pretty rare that we went to Mass. So when we first got together, it was, he would, depending on what was happening, but Mass going on Sunday was something that it was important to him. And I could easily be like, let's sleep in. And, he would cave, but I would look at him and he wasn't okay. Like I was like, he would kind of mope around for most of the morning of the day, be like, we should have went to Mass. And I'd be like, yeah, it's fine. And so as the years have gone by and things have happened, I have jumped completely into his boat. And so we have these great, I think when we talk about faith is times that we really connect. Because Erik will say something and then we'll go back and forth about it. But, he's very involved in the church. I've recently become more involved in the church. And just recognizing what it is and what it brings and really just how fortunate and like hitting your knees. We have something we do at night, the way that we pray together. But he said to me at one point, like, how can I not possibly hit my knees every night and thank God for my life and what I have, my family. And then this is what really got me. He's like, and how can I not thank God for you? And I was like, oh, wait a second. I want to learn more about this. So I think that is a big part, like being on the same page. And when bumps come up and we remind each other about, okay, well, this is an opportunity for us to learn, grow. How can we look at this differently? So those kind of things. So we help each other through stuff like that. And that, there are times when we both walk away feeling better after having a conversation like that. But it's daily, the stuff that we do. We listen to Hallow on the way down here, stuff like that. Like it's reminding you constantly of just, how everything fits together and that, where you really need to stay focused.
Yeah, our faith as a couple has been a journey and, it's taken years. But I think what is part of what has strengthened our relationship through to today is our partnership in faith. To have your faith and know it's not about you is a huge piece of, it is really the secret sauce in a relationship. That, that humbleness that we have. I know I have incredible selfish tendencies that are always pulling me to worry about myself and not others. And Shay helps check that. But my faith is my best defense against that. And so that humility and that self-sacrifice, knowing it's not about each other or ourselves, it's about our relationship, it's about God, that's helped us connect even stronger through the years. We now pray together every night. We say grace together during dinner, especially with kids. And it's those small things have helped strengthen our relationship.
What advice would you give couples who feel overwhelmed by the demands of parenthood, particularly like when it puts a strain like on the relationship as a married couple?
Yeah, I think reflecting on it, there are two big stressors as a parent and a married couple. One is about your kids and the expectations you have for them, and that you want those expectations to come true. So we often end up doing things for them instead of training them how to do them. So our job is to train our kids, not to do things for our kids, and let them get there by themselves. So that means they make mistakes. That means things don't go well. There are ups and downs. And as a parent, it's very difficult to step back and let that happen and not let that spin yourself out of control and stress you out, and to be okay with it. So learning to be okay with it, it took us a long time. And I think that's one piece of advice to try to cut some of that pain out, is to, be aware of that it's okay that your children make mistakes. They are learning. Your job is to prepare them for life, not to do life for them. The second one is that through parenthood, the couple's relationship easily get ignored. And both our kids are now out of the house. And I'll tell you what, I mean, the kids are a huge distraction. As they're growing up, all the focus is on them. So the day they leave, it's you and your spouse looking at each other. I mean, I'm literally, the next day, you're looking at each other saying, now what do we do? Because all of your daily activities and schedule is now totally changed. And you just have each other. So if you're not working on your relationship through the kids' youth and growing up, you may not be prepared for that day.
Big trouble.
And, it might not go so well. So it's important to make investments in the relationship along the way. Whichever spouse it is, you have to look at yourself and ask yourself, what am I doing to help our relationship stay strong or improve? And finding little things little bits of recognition, a word every day, a hug every day when your spouse isn't expecting it, perhaps. It's critical.
I got something too. So we were talking about moms and dads where the mom, all of her focus is on the kids. And what I know for sure is that if you don't let your children know that this is rock solid and that you can go anywhere, do anything, and if they have in their brain, I can't because I'm worried about mom and dad. I can't because they're going to miss me too much. I can't. That is resentment. That is, it is the worst. I mean, I say all the time to the kids, like I remember when we were dropping Owen off he was leaving us, and I was dying, but I was like, he was like, Mom, you okay? And I said, yeah, totally fine. I'm like trying to push him out of the car, lump the size of Missouri in my throat. I was dying. And I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? I get to hang out with this guy 24/7? Get out of here. And he pulled back and walked away. And Eric looked at me and said, are you okay? And I said, no, go. And so, but I have asked the kids that. Do you guys ever worry about me and Dad? And they're like, no. It is, but they have friends at school. They're like, I know my parents are going to get divorced. And they're taking classes, they're doing things. And then they're worried about ew, who wants that? Also, this kills me is when moms and dads put each other down in front of other people and in front of their children. It is the worst because it just fractures that whole thing. And so and someone had said that to me, don't ever put Eric down. And so I went out of my way. There was a phase where I'd see Eric and I'd look at the kids and be like, oh, here comes Prince Charlie. And I'd smile and laugh, and they would laugh and thought it was so funny, and he'd get in the car and not know what was going on and this and that. But I went out of my way to say, look at me, I'm the luckiest woman in the world because I get to be with this guy, because it made them feel comfortable, safe, And I say now too, our kids, both of them, where do they want to be for Thanksgiving? With us. Where do they want to be for Christmas? With us. And it's not like, oh gosh, Mom, if I don't go, she's going to feel, hey, does it work for your schedule? Nope. Okay, great. Maybe we'll see the weekend before or after, whatever works, let me know. But we want them, and it comes back to that proposal thing. If you want to spend time with me, I'm here. But if I make you feel guilty or pressured or whatever, and to Eric's point, if you conjure that place where it's fun to be home, they are fun to be with because they're not bickering, pulling each other apart, and they like each other. Yeah, I want to go home. I want to hang out with Mom and Dad. But if you don't start that early and it's this push and pull and I'll go in Mom's car or whatever, then, so you're thinking, oh, I love my kids so much. I love them the most. But if you're tearing down their dad or their mom, you're hurting them. You're not hurting the person that you think you're hurting. You're hurting your kids, and that's the worst. I mean, I've seen it. It's awful, awful, awful.
Well, and you're touching on a psychological reality when it came to self-reported measurement of a child's happiness, once they've left the home. The strongest correlation was how much love and affection they witnessed between and that was the only thing that really correlated. It wasn't like my mom spent a bunch of time with me or came to all my sporting events. Maybe that happens. But the key thing is that I knew mom and dad had a healthy relationship, right? And you could see how psychologically, if you're around that safety and that security, then it helps your children form secure attachments in other areas in their life, right? It also tends to help them pick partners that are going to be beneficial for them as well too, because I want somebody that treated mom, like dad did, or I want to date a woman in the same way that like that mom treated dad. And so it's a beautiful testament to kind of like how the whole family unit being designed works, right, for the betterment of everyone, betterment for society, a betterment for children. What would you say has been the most rewarding part of being for you both? How has it strengthened your marriage? Like, what's the most rewarding part of being a parent?
For me, it's that moment, those times when you look at your children and realize that you've constantly, or at least I do, constantly comparing them to myself when I was their age. You're like, wow, they are doing this better than I did, or better than I would have, or they made this decision that I would not have made. That's clearly a better decision. And I wonder, where the heck did that come from? Those are great moments, when you see your kids and the values that they have, that a lot of times you don't even, you're not quite sure how those values got there, but there they are. So something right happened, and they're in a good spot. That's the best feeling.
Our faith has just
Blossomed.
Because of the kids. And because that's happened, both of them on separate occasions have said to me, it's so great about, being Catholic, or however they phrased it, was that I just know I'm never alone. I was like, okay, we're done. Like, I can just walk away. Like, it was just, oh my gosh, like, that kind of stuff. They are really, and again, it's a mirror. Your children are mirrors. So you see when a tone in their voice and you're like, oh gosh, that's what I sound like. Or they teach you a lesson. One of my favorite things was, our daughter was 6 years old, car seats, back seats, and I had to run into the post office. And I ran into the post office, and this woman that I've seen a million times, I say hello. She doesn't say hello back to me, she doesn't even acknowledge who I am. So I get in the car, and I'm like, gosh, that Amy is so rude. She is just so awful. She knows who I am. And this little hand came and touched me on the shoulder and said, Mom, it's not about you. And it hit me like a lightning bolt, and I was like, oh my goodness. Poor thing, maybe she just got fired or, got diagnosed with something horrible. And here I am upset she didn't say hello. I was like, okay, Al, thanks. Yep, got that one. And again, I think of that all the time. If I run in, if someone doesn't smile, okay, maybe something's going on with them. But yeah, it was that little 6-year-old tapped me on the shoulder. So stuff like that is just, and it happens if you are, you head up and you're just ready and open to seeing it, it's everywhere with kids, everywhere. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's really cool.
Awesome. All right. Is there anything else that you want to say about parenting, about marriage, just anything that might be on your heart?
Well, we've said that it is it is the most important decision you make. And, asking these questions and you can get on the same page. Maybe you come from a different place.
Choosing your spouse is the most important.
Yeah, it's the most important. And, but communication and asking for what you need and telling someone what you want. This guy, honestly, is the greatest guy in the world. And he will give you the shirt off your back if you ask for it. But if I'm on fire and he's got his mind focused on something else, he's not grabbing the hose until I say, hey, Eric, would you mind hosing me off? I have to tell him. And we've reached this point. Well, it's, and I love that about him. I wish that I could focus on one thing and do a great job with that one thing. I think I'm quite the multitasker. But there are times when I'm looking at him like, okay, you see this, you see what's happening. And so with kids, it's hard, right? Because I'm there anticipating every move. And if I say, hey, Eric, can you grab the diaper bag? Oh, yeah, jumps up and does it. But if I'm going to sit there and fester and be like, I needed a diaper bag, you didn't bring it to me, you saw what was happening, and then what, I walk around mopey all day? No. So figure out who you guys are, ask for what you need, say it, and I think that you're going to hit a home run. And if you think they're cute on top of it, fantastic.
That does help. Eric, would you feel comfortable like leading us in a closing prayer?
I have a good prayer.
Yeah, I'd like to hand it over.
That's great. Absolutely.
So in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, God, thank you for this opportunity for us to share. We are humbled by your ways, and we ask for you to continue to give us your grace, to guide us to where there is light when there is darkness, and to find love where there is hate. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Awesome.